You're out of here. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, I'm your host, Hyde, and here at Hide and Seek Media, what I'm trying to do is bring you a common sense, blue collar perspective on news, current events, sports, entertainment, politics, and so much more. So, guess what we're talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Kevin McCarthy out as Speaker of House thanks to Matt Gaetz and a number of Democrats. I knew this was coming. I knew from the very beginning that Kevin McCarthy was not going to hold up his end of the bargain and that he was going to turn to the Democrats at some point. I said it when they elected him, and I've been saying it since he's been Speaker. He was the worst choice, in my opinion, for Speaker of the House. But that's who we ended up getting, and he went back on his word, and Matt Gaetz didn't, and that's the difference here, right? That's the complete difference. And there are some people who jump to McCarthy's defense that I wouldn't have expected, and honestly, I'm disappointed in, if I'm 100% honest. And we're going to get to that here in a little bit in one of these articles. What I'm not surprised about is that this happened, and I'm not surprised that McCarthy turned to the Democrats when he couldn't get his way with the Republicans. That's what kind of Republican he is. But of course, McCarthy wasn't going to hold up his end of the deal. He never was. And anybody who actually believed that he would is just fooling themselves. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who jumped all on board that train early on because she wanted to get something out of it. The true politician in Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out to the surface. And that's why I don't have any faith in her anymore. That's why I've put all of my trust in Matt Gaetz alone to rally the troops and start to change people's minds and the way they act in the House. We're going to jump into this first story here that I got from CBS News. Kevin McCarthy removed as Speaker of the House in historic vote. Now, there's something in here that I wanted to point out, and that's the reason why I brought this article up first, was because the way they word this, right? This is House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his leadership position in a historic vote on Tuesday after a far right revolt over his reliance on Democrats to pass funding to avert a government shutdown. So I want to stop right there because what he did was he passed a continuing referendum or whatever it is, right? To just continue things as they were before. And one of the things he promised that he would do was pass single subject spending bills instead of omnibus bills, and then turned around and passed an omnibus bill to keep the government open. He passed an omnibus bill to quote unquote stop a government shutdown, and then he tried to use the troops as a reason for why he did it. I couldn't look the troops in the face and say they couldn't be paid. Um, well, then you should have passed the Department of Defense budget when it came up instead of ignoring it, and then go to the Department of Justice, and then go to the whatever department is next, and you pass these bills. This is the way it's supposed to have been done, and you ignored these Republicans like Matt Gaetz for far too long, and as a result, you're no longer Speaker of the House. And this is because you didn't hold your end up of the bargain. There's no coup here or infighting amongst Republicans. Yeah, a bunch of Republicans didn't want him to be outed, but you know what? You don't hold up your end of the deal, you're gone. This is simple. Like, this is the way it should be. And more Americans are behind Matt Gaetz than ever before because of something like this. And I promise you, this is going to resonate very, very well with the MAGA group. Even though Trump supported McCarthy, I think he was doing that for the party's support. He wanted to keep the RNC supporting him, so he went ahead and supported McCarthy because that's who their pick was. I don't think that he really trusted Kevin McCarthy. And if he did, then that just goes to show that Donald Trump doesn't have the best judging character when it comes to who he picks to trust. and that maybe he should be listening to smarter people when it comes to picking those people, and not people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who had her own agenda from the very onset, and who was the one who kept going to President Trump trying to convince him that McCarthy was the right pick. She even says so in a couple of tweets and interviews. So it's not like I'm making this stuff up, right? But the real article I wanted to get to is this one here from Timcast. It says McCarthy removed as Speaker of the House. McCarthy is the first Speaker of the House to be vacated from his seat in U.S. history. Kevin McCarthy has been removed from the office of the Speaker of the House. Yesterday evening, Florida Representative Matt Gaetz introduced a motion declaring the office of Speaker of House vacate. The House adopted the resolution on Tuesday and proceeded in debate. Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie, who previously co-authored and co-sponsored a motion to vacate former Speaker of the House John Bonner, or Bonner maybe? Yeah, Bonner. Sorry. A Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie, who previously co-authored and co-sponsored a motion to vacate former Speaker of the House John Bonner in 2015, warned against removing McCarthy as Speaker. This chamber has been run better, more conservatively, and more transparently under McCarthy than any other speaker that I have served under. Well, that's not a lot, Massie. The Kentucky representative who supported McCarthy's bid for Speaker referenced concessions made during January's historical contested vote, noting there was never a promise for an outcome. There was never a promise that you could force Joe Biden to sign something, he continued. This is a referendum on the institution. If you vacate the speaker, this institution will fail. And I'm sorry, but I have to say here, I am very, very disappointed in you, John or Thomas Massie. Very, very disappointed. I I consider you like the libertarian of the Republican Party, like the face of the Libertarian Party, basically. And the fact that you stand behind Kevin McCarthy and these continuing resolutions and this uh, same old politics is disgusting. It's disgusting and it's disappointing. And you should be better than that. You should know better than that, and you should not be standing on the House floor asking for things to go on as normal. That's very disappointing. I do, however, like Matt Gaetz's reply to that. It says efforts to vacate Bonner did not prove successful as Bonner opted to resign from Congress. Massie also opposed former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan's bid for Speaker after Bonner's resignation. Republicans in favor of keeping McCarthy as Speaker referred to efforts to oust him as chaos, to which Gaetz said the national debt was chaotic. I think facing a $2.2 trillion annual deficit is chaos, he continued. I think not passing single subject spending bills is chaos. And of course, he goes on, for a good bit here. He says, I think the fact that we have been governed in this country since the mid 90s by continuing resolution and omnibus is chaos, Gaetz said, referring to the Newt Gingrich era congressional Republicans. The way to liberate ourselves from that is a series of reforms to this body that I would hope would outlast Speaker McCarthy's time, would outlast my time here, and would outlast either of the majorities. Later in the House debate, Gaetz criticized fellow lawmakers accepting funds from lobbyists and special interest groups. Quote, I take no lecture from asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight, from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have hollowed out this town and who have borrowed against the future of our future generations. And he got booed for that on the floor. And he was like, okay, boo me. I don't care. He goes, I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans. And you all can keep showing up for those lobbyist fundraisers and see how far that goes for you. And he's right. Like, this is why I love Matt Gaetz, right? Because this man is standing up and doing the right thing. He is fighting all the right fights. Like, he is saying he's trying to reform all the things that need to be reformed in this government. And he's not trying to do it with, a tiny hammer and chisel. He's coming in with a jackhammer and sledgehammers, and he's like, it's time to bust this stuff up. And he's 100% right. And I have to say that I'm 100% disappointed in Thomas Massie for him standing up and defending Kevin McCarthy in this instance, and for voting for him to begin with. We all knew this was going to happen. We all knew that McCarthy was going to turn to the Democrats at some point. We all knew that a continuing resolution was probably going to come out of this when it comes to the budget. If McCarthy didn't think that the Republicans or the Freedom Caucus was strong enough to stand on their morals and stand up against this crap, he was dead wrong. And so is the rest of the Democratic Party and those Republicans who think that this is the bad idea. Because Matt Gaetz is speaking for the American people. He's not just speaking for himself. He's speaking for the American people. So I want to know what you guys think, though. Do you think McCarthy was doing a good job, or do you think he should have been ousted? Do you think this was the right play for Matt Gaetz? And is Matt Gaetz trying to garner favor for a future political bid of some kind? Maybe in a bigger office, maybe Senate or governor of Florida, maybe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about me on this video. I love to engage with my viewers, so feel free to fire away. If you like the content, make sure to smash that like button. Share this video on all social media platforms. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I'll catch you later. Peace.